Hey, good morning, everyone. I pray that you all are having a blessed week so far. Happy Wednesday, and welcome to another edition of Morning Motivation. And thank you so much for being with us. So, today I wanted to talk about getting organized. And so, as I was doing research for today's show, I was going down this one path and talking about how our lives are filled with clutter and especially like in our office space, we have like tons of papers and things piled up, or even around our house we have things that are piled up that are just kind of just cluttering our minds and cluttering our environment. And was talking looking at the effects of clutter in our life. And so the scripture that came to mind, two scriptures came to mind, is Corinthians 14 and 40. It says, but all things should be done decently and in order. And when I think about in order, I think about everything nice and neat. Just like you see everything kind of on my desk, everything is nice and neat. But if you go up to my other studio, I have papers all over the place. Of course, you can't see them because, it's outside of camera view. But I think about the necessity, and I think about the other day I was looking at my desk and I was thinking, man, this is kind of chaotic, this kind of hectic here, and I need to take a few moments to clean up. And so I was like, you know what? Let me. Then I walked downstairs and I saw some things from Sunday's event that I did. I saw my bag kind of all over the place, and I was like, you know what? I need to clean up. And then also yesterday, I came home and I noticed that my wife had tidied up the kitchen, the sink area, everything was nice and clean. And so I thought about it. It's like, okay. And so it led to this morning's topic. And another scripture that comes to mind is First Corinthians 14 and 33. And it says, for God is not a God of confusion, but of peace. And so also I think of clutter, I think of confusion. And as I was going through this, I thought about, we all have situations in our lives, like our desk may be cluttered, or we might get ready to make dinner and things are cluttered around us. The dishes aren't clean. And so we have to clean up before we can get started. And what happens is this: a couple things that happen when we have this clutter in our lives. It shows us that, or shall I say, it slows us down. We can't get to a project or get to doing what we need to do or want to do as quickly because we have to face this clutter. And it might not just be a fact that we have to dig through the clutter to get to what we need, but it can just simply mean the fact that clutter is there, and clutter in our lives can have a negative effect. It can have a mentally a mental from let me start all over. From a mental health perspective, it can have a negative effect on us when we have clutter in our lives, because what's going to happen is we can feel down, we can feel sad, we could feel anxious, we could have, anxiety about it. We could even be depressed because of the clutter that's in our life. And so as I was going through this, and I had all these studies I was going to quote and this and that and everything else. And then at the end it said, but however, yes, clutter is so bad and can cause stress in our lives. But, for some people like creatives, they like to have a messy area. For them, it's a couple things. It says that with them having a messy area, it's allowing them to be free to express themselves. Because when they are in a situation where everything is nice and tidy, then they can't operate as well as they can when things are stacked up and piled around them, which is interesting. But I know that when we have different personality types, and some people like to be very organized and very attention to detail. Then some people, just are carefree, and whatever happens, happens. Let's just go with life. And so what I want to so I kind of shifted from my original thought, and I just thought about this. God has made us all different. He's made us all different and unique. And so what I want to encourage you to do is operate in who God has called you to be. And that's so important. When we try to, what's that? When we try to put the round peg in the square hole, it doesn't always work out. you're banging your head, you're trying to get it in there, you need to get a mallet and something, but it doesn't always work out. So what I'll say is be who God has called you to be. And, I believe that whether you have a messy desk or a nice and tidy desk, you can still be who God has called you to be. And one of the most valuable things that I learned about this experience and is that, this chaos that you have going on, or this clutter that you have, this disorganization in your life, it can affect not only, like I said, your mental health, but it can affect your relationships. The people you're around, your coworkers. If you're that person with the messy, sloppy desk, it can cause some issues with your coworkers, even at home. And that's what it kind of spoke to me today, is that, I'm okay with things being messy and cluttered because in that fashion. But I know my wife, on the other hand, she likes things nice and tidy and neat. And so it was an eye opener to me reading this, because where I am living in my creativity, I may be hindering my wife because I am not keeping things nice and neat and tidy. And so, what I am going to challenge for me today is this, is that I am going to go tidy up some areas that have been a little bit disorganized, so that I know when I invite my wife into my office, she doesn't have to see this, and then she gets potentially stressed out by it. And so you might be saying, okay, Lee, what are you saying today? Should we be okay to be cluttered? Should we be okay to be disorganized? Or should we everything be nice and tidy and neat? What I'm going to tell you is this, is that God has made you who you are and who he wants you to be. And what I would say is this, is that if you are a neat person, then perhaps if there's some clutter in your life, those are the things that are hindering you from growing. And I will say this, that if you are a creative person, that some things in your life that may be trying to put restrictions on you, they may be hindering you as well. So my final thought is this, is that step out and be confident in who God has called you to be. If you're creative, be creative and allow God to order your steps and lead your steps in everything that you do. So once again, thank you all for watching. I appreciate your comments and your shares and your likes. And God willing, we will see you back here again tomorrow morning. Take care and God bless.